You're about to hear from Linda Johansen-James. She's one of the most accomplished minds in the retail world. She's, let's call her a powerhouse entrepreneur. She's founded and led over 30 retail pop-up shops nationwide for major brands like Coca-Cola and Marvel.
You have to strategize before you open your store and do a P&L to understand, can you make this business work? What is your overhead cost? What are your product costs? What are your employee costs? What are your cost of goods? I mean, all of those things.
Welcome, entrepreneur movers and shakers. This is the TonyDUrsoShow Show. You're at the right place. I thank you for joining in with us. Now, let me ask you something. Are you feeling the pressure to adapt your business to today's, let's call it, ever-evolving consumer landscape? Are your sales patterns, are they unpredictable? Foot traffic dropping? I see it all over the place. Are you wondering perhaps how to keep your edge in this digital first world? If so, this episode is exactly what you need. You're about to hear from Linda Johansen-James. She's one of the most accomplished minds in the retail world. She's, let's call her a powerhouse entrepreneur. She's founded and led over 30 retail pop-up shops nationwide for major brands like Coca-Cola and Marvel, and even spearheaded hundreds of brick-and-mortar rollouts for companies that were just beginning to dream big. Now, this is really personal for me because I used to have a store in a mall which got destroyed in an earthquake. I know what it takes just to run one store and make that happen. I mean, if you have any store or brick and mortar, you know what I'm talking about. And to do it on a massive scale like Linda is just, it's over my head. And by the way, she's not just a retail consultant, she's a turnaround expert, a scaling strategist, and she's someone who knows exactly how today's consumers behave and how businesses like yours can thrive in this chaos. So if you're wondering about, well, how AI or online shopping and all the shifting habits you hear and all the economic pressures that are going on, how they reshape the playing field, sometimes weekly, sometimes daily, this interview is going to open your eyes. So stick with me because Linda is about to deliver the insights that can help you future proof your business no matter what industry you're in. Let's dive in. Let's bring her on. Hi, Linda. Welcome to the TonyDUrso Show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Linda, we're all looking forward to learning about future proofing retail. As I mentioned, I know how tough it can be just to do one, and here you are dealing with dozens and dozens and dozens. And what caught my attention right away at the beginning is not so much the success that you've had, but it's an amazing entrepreneurial journey. So, how did it begin for you, and what brought you into this into the retail space?
Well, that's a really great question, and I wish I had a solid answer for you. I don't know if any entrepreneur really knows how they got started, but I think from a very young age, I was always selling something. You know, I was selling lemonade, I was selling Tootsie Rolls. I was always trying to find a way to make money. And I think that's how a lot of entrepreneurs get started, right? They have an idea and a concept, and then they try and figure out, well, how do I do the business, right? So retail, I love retail because I like to buy. And so I love retail. And while I was a single mom raising my daughter, I had to work a part-time job. So I worked at Macy's. So I was always interested in how retailers and retail really worked and how businesses were able to scale. And then my daughter went to work for a cart in the middle of the mall in Salt Lake City, Utah, selling Proactive, the skincare. And she loved it. And I always thought that those carts weren't really retail, right? So I asked her, I said, well, how does this work? So I'd go down there. Well, long story short is my husband now was the one who was rolling these kiosks out in shopping centers. And he was looking for someone to go out and open all these locations. And so that's how I stepped back into retail. And I love it. I love the people part of it. I love the shopping part of it. I love the buying part of it. I like the strategy part of it. So we had a very lucrative business. And when you said 30 pop-ups, I've actually opened over 300 pop-up stores and for various brands, and have ran inline stores, carts, kiosks, long-term inline stores. So yeah, so I just love it. And I think that I now have really came to the conclusion that I really am an entrepreneur because my husband and I worked together for 18 years. Then I started my own business where now I don't own anything, but I help retailers or brands or entrepreneurs to test and launch their products in retail.
That's quite the story. I'm very impressed again. Hundreds of stores, and you've dealt with so many people and so many entrepreneurs and business owners. Can you tell us perhaps maybe some of the biggest lessons that you've learned about scaling and adapting in retail? Excuse me, because some people think it's dying. I mean, stores are closing like crazy, but some stores are really doing very well.
Well, here's the deal. I think what my husband and I did with AKM before and what I teach my clients now, my brands and entrepreneurs, is test, test, test. Don't scale too quickly because that's what happens, right? We think, okay, so one did well, let's do 50. No, let's do five. Let's learn what works and what doesn't work because a lot of our brands now have an online presence, right? So they think what works on the online store is going to work in brick and mortar. And to some extent, that's right. But let's learn first. Let's understand what the consumer likes, what they want, how the store works, and let's test, test, test. So let's test first, let's be patient, and then let's roll out. Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they roll out too quickly and they're not really sure. They're not managing the numbers. They're not looking at the staffing. They're not looking at all of the KPIs that really help to make that business successful. Secondarily, if you are an online brand in today's market, you have to mirror what you're doing online. That's all there is to it. You have to offer the same products at the same price, offer the same offerings because today's consumers are smart. And I hate to say this because I date myself, but it's not like it used to be before where we didn't know how much they were selling it online for, right? And so you have to really mirror that offering because if you don't, today's consumer is just they're gonna pull out their phone, they're gonna order it somewhere else, they're gonna show it to you, and they're gonna walk out, and you're gonna miss that opportunity. So I think to mirror what you're doing online, to be patient, test first, and lastly, really understand your consumer. They're smart today. They're really smart. And we have to understand what they want. And if we do that, you had already mentioned about stores closing. Well, listen, 80% of the consumers are still shopping in store. So, right?
Understand when I go to a mall, I see so many stores closed. In fact,
Yep.
it's become a thing. Oh, they're closed. They're closed. They're closed. Uh, you know, uh, or a sign is put up and it doesn't look like the store's closed, but it's closed. And
Yes.
more and more people are shopping online.
Yep.
And by the way, on a comment on that is that some of the online, to me, it seems like a lot, but I'll say the word some,
Yep.
you can get it for less price with shipping online than you can going into the store. So the convenience is making you steer away from going into a store in the first place.
Right. But see, the strategy has to be that, listen, there is a different cost associated with being in retail. So listen, and I've tested this and tested it over and over again in brick and mortar locations. You can charge a little bit more because there's different costs associated with it, as long as you do one thing extremely well. One thing. And that's taking care of the customer. Today's customer, today's consumer wants to be taken care of. So if you explain to them that, listen, I understand it might be a little less expensive online, but let me tell you the benefits of buying from me. You're going to be able to try it on. You're going to be able to touch and feel it. And by the way, you're going to have me helping you. So you're going to get that personalized, customized service that all of us so want now Because of what? Because of what happened with COVID, right? We were so used to being by ourselves and so used to being alone that now we want that interaction. So today's consumer will spend, and I mean this in all honesty, they'll spend a little bit more money if we provide that customer service that we so want.
I'm going to comment on that in a moment. We're speaking with Linda Johansen-James. We're talking about future proofing retail, and you can find her at irg-retail.com. IRG, little dash, retail.com. Linda, as you're saying this, because I used to have a store in the mall, as I mentioned, and I shop in malls still to this day and online as everybody. And back in the day, when the internet was coming out, and even as it rolled out, the trend was I'd rather go into the store so I could touch it, I could feel it, I could look at it. If it's close, I can try it on. If I buy it online, there's all these gimmicks, and we'll ship you the wardrobe to check and all these things, but they don't take away, they don't come close to that experience of in the
Right,
store shopping and touching it. But
right.
now things have changed because I could buy it online cheaper, and I'm just wondering, has are we ping ponging back and forth? Has the consumer uh, point
Yep.
of view really changed?
Yes. Oh, it has changed because we're going to move. So now used to be omni-channel. It used to be this. Now it's called unified commerce. Unified commerce means that all realms of your business are all tied together. So whether you do a pop-up store, right, a short-term strategy, whether you do a long-term strategy, whether you're online, and now the big thing is social media purchasing. Now the biggest thing out there is people are purchasing from TikTok, they're purchasing from Instagram. So all of your channels need to be seamless because today's consumer is going to move in and out of channels at will. So today I may go in your store and I may purchase in your store, but tomorrow I may go online. So what we have to do is, as a brand or an entrepreneur, as a retailer, we have to offer the customers all the ways that they want to buy. And sometimes that's not easy when you're a new brand or a new entrepreneur launching in retail, right? It's not quite as easy. But there are consultants and companies like mine and like other companies out there that can help you to make that process seamless, right? But the other thing is the consumers want you to offer the loyalty program that you have. We all, regardless of how much money we have, Tony, we all want to get a good deal, or we want not necessarily on sale, but we want to be recognized and rewarded for what we buy. And there are a couple of retailers out there that do it really well. And if I may mention their names, like Sephora and Nordstrom's, they do it really well, right? So if you go in the store and spend so much money, the next time you go in, they say, "Oh my gosh, Linda, you get $10 off today. Do you want to use it?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." Right? So that consumer now wants you to reward them whether they buy it online or buy it on Instagram or TikTok or in store. So we have to make that buying process seamless because if we do, that customer is going to be loyal to you.
Yeah, and not to argue, and I don't argue. In 10
Please.
years, 500 plus
Huh.
interviews, I'm not an arguing person. But when I go into the store and I go, you get, Tony, you get $50 off. Linda, you got to pay full price. But we're both right in line. And to me, it's just seems to be awkward. And I just never kind of get over that. But
Yep.
but then that customer loyalty gets rewarded from going to that store. So it's kind of like you just kind of balance it. So it's odd to pay less or to pay more than other people, but you're also rewarded if you go into a store.
Well,
And I've seen that really work very well.
but you're rewarded if you buy online too. So I guess
Yeah.
let me explain a little more. So whether you buy it online or in store or on TikTok or Instagram or whatever other platform that you offer your clients, the reward is the same. So the loyalty program is the same. Now, the one benefit of buying it in store is you're not paying shipping, right? Unless you're one of the big boys who offer free shipping. But now a lot of the retailers are making you have to pay for shipping and you're paying if you send it back. But if you bring it back in store, you're not paying that cost, right? So one of the benefits of bringing it in store, that if it doesn't fit or you don't like it or you have to bring it back, you're not paying to ship it back. Because a lot of the retailers and a lot of the sites are now having you pay for shipping back, right, when you return an item, because the costs are going up. So listen, I think one of the best ways that if you're a brand or an entrepreneur or retailer, that you can know what your customers want is ask them. Or, I mean, ask them. But actually really listen when you ask them what they want, how they want to buy, what kind of discounts they want. Do you want a BOGO, a buy one, get one free? Do you want to see the same price online that you do in store? You need to survey your customers and ask them. And I think that's where a lot of times the retailers are really struggling. They send you that survey, but they don't care what it says, right? They don't answer.
So true. While you're saying this, I remember a case in point, a store that I used to visit. I'm going to be nameless here because I don't like to know people. Always had, literally, not exaggeration, they always had a line to the door, or usually out the door. Always, always, always. And I always used to marvel because I'm a marketing person. I've had a store I like to sell now and all that sort of stuff. And then one day the place was empty and I found out that they had a brand new manager. Apparently someone just graduated from college and became the manager, shut off their loyalty program.
Oh,
And within 6 months, I'm
that's
talking, I visited the store for years.
wow.
It's true, for years, always super jammed. Within 6 months, it was closed down.
See?
So even though I'm arguing with myself because the loyalty program, that's just it. But I'm on that because I'm kind of drawing on. I worked in the mall for
Hey,
years and years
yeah.
and years, and one of the things I've noticed from working in the mall, as you know, on the other side of the counter, is the employees, they would struggle. Is that a good word? I don't know the word. Complain. You know, I always hear something about the consumer having trouble, having this or some complaint. And it was just always kind of weird to me because I don't like to complain. Maybe
Right.
it's my Italian nature. I don't know. So I'm wondering about pain points today, and how do the store owners and people, how do they keep up with consumer behavior today?
Well, listen, it's really hard. I mean, it's really difficult to keep up because it's changing so quickly, right? Especially with like AI. I mean, I've been to 4 conferences, I've done 3 talks and been on 2 panels over the last 3 months. And this is the conversation, right? How do we keep up? How do we, when the consumer changes every day, right? So I guess my answer to that is that if you have the basics right, okay, if you have the basics right, if you have a great staff, a great store location, great product mix, you're not running out of product, you've trained your sales team to really help and service that customer, then I believe that that sets the structure, right? Now, with all of the new things that are coming up, like adding in social media purchasing, um, AI, you have to look at your business, right? And you have to see which strategy works best for you. Like with AI, oh my gosh, there's so much and it can be so expensive, right, to implement. So if you're struggling with, say, procurement and ordering, then I would suggest to you that the first piece of AI you offer is how to make sure you have the right products in the right sizes for your consumer. Because that's the biggest complaint I get from the customers, because I'm a boots on the ground leader. I am out selling with my clients in their stores side by side to understand what's happening. And the biggest complaint we get is that you don't have my size, you don't have my color, you don't have my style. So they leave. So I think for implementing things in your retail business, I would look at where your pain points are to begin with. And that seems to be the biggest, right? And you can implement AI on the product side really inexpensive. And I know a lot of people that can help with that, because that seems to be the biggest struggle. The second thing is be present. Be in your stores. Make sure you really do understand what's happening. So many times we dictate strategy from our offices, right? Right? So, as Jack Welch used to say, one of the I think one of the greatest leaders out there is walk the manufacturing floor. Understand what your employees are dealing with, what your consumers want, and that way you can plan your strategy accordingly.
Linda, I'm getting into the mindset here of I'm going to go out now and open up a store. I love art. I'm going to open up an art store. I've had an art store for years, or I have one now, and I'm just thinking in the audience here, and I'm thinking, AI. How does AI change? Because these are people meeting each other. These are people in place. So can I get a little bit more of how to prepare? What do I need to know to stay competitive? How do I use AI in this sort of a setting scenario?
Well, listen, first of all, AI can do everything from, you know, from planning your inventory strategy to helping you train your sales staff to to I mean it can track how many people are coming in your store and what their dwell time is. And I mean, there's just so many pieces. So here's what I would say is make sure if you're opening your new art store, right? Or my client's opening a new store, you implement the right POS system, right? Because everything is going to revolve around doing that to begin with. So, using a POS system that integrates your online with your social media, with your in store, because all of those strategies go together. With AI, there's just so many companies that can help you really assess what it is that you need for your art store, right? And there's so many strategies out there that it's hard for me to say, do this one now. But I would say if you're opening a new store, getting the right POS system so that you can implement all those strategies through your POS system and really um, take a look at AI from the from the logistics part of it to begin with and the training part of it. There's just a friend of mine and I say this, I don't want to surprise you, but we're writing a book on how to implement AI in retail because as a brand new shop owner, it's really, really hard. I mean, it's hard for me because I'm not a tech wizard, right? So when my clients are asking me, I'm like, well, let me look that up because it's really difficult, right? And especially us older people who are looking at chat gpt and all these chat bots and all these things that you can implement that it's like French to me, right?
And me, I'm thinking, my, how things have changed
Oh, yes.
over the years, Linda. It's just like, my goodness, so many changes. It's
It's overwhelming.
just so different. And I'm thinking with this now, are there like trends that I should pay close attention to? Are there things I should know about
Yep.
because I'm going to open up that art store or I already have a store? What do I need to know to for this year? If this year is, I think this year is very different from other years. Lots of changes. So what do I need to know about now?
You need to know about now that today's consumer wants something and they want it now. They don't want to wait, right? We have that. I want it in my hands and I want it now. They also want an experience. We call it phygital, right? So they want to not just walk into your store and just look at art. They want to have an experience. So maybe you have a digital board that shows all kinds of art. Maybe you have an area where they can sit and browse through an art book, right? They want that experience. Gen Z, who we hear a lot about, right? They want to know that you care about the experience that they have in your store. So don't just set up at your store as a retail store, set it up as an experience. Like I was telling you that I went to this store while I was in Paris, and the experience was so overwhelming. They had a history of their store. You could sit in a chair. They brought you over a glass of water and a little cookie, and I could sit in that store. So you want your consumer to spend time in your store, right? Walking around, especially if it's an art store. You want to give them the history of that artist. You want to show them the book. You want to have the story of the art on the wall where they can understand, and your employees are giving them the history of your store and why you opened it. We want an experience today. And if we don't have that experience, we go to the retailers who do.
You bring back memories. I love shopping in France. I love it. I love it. It's so and I haven't had that experience. I didn't get my cookie.
Oh, yeah. That was that was actually in Amsterdam. I waited in line for one cookie. And here's the thing, your employees, the other thing that we want to know for today's consumer is we want to understand the makeup of the people who own the store. We want to know the history. We want to have that interaction with your team. So, what I would say now, even more than ever, is make sure your team is interacting with your consumers. I just did a little video about how I hate when I walk into a retail store when someone yells, "Welcome in" from the back of the store. It drives me crazy. It literally drives me crazy because it's just like saying, "Oh yeah, I don't care if you're in here or not. I'm just gonna say welcome in a generic statement," right? Today's consumers need about 3 seconds when they walk in your store before they want to be addressed because they know that people are going to pounce on them to buy something, right? So training your employees on how to really read the consumer when they come in the store is really important. Do you want to be talked to? Do you want to just walk around on your own? Do you want me to engage more detailed with you, right? So today's consumer wants to be interacted with, but you have to read how that consumer wants to be interacted with, right? So some shoppers want to be left alone, but you still want to walk up, say, "Hi, welcome into my store. My name is Linda. Is there something in particular you're looking for?" So scripting today your employees on how to deal with different kinds of consumers, which, by the way, AI can do that too.
Interesting. A couple years back, when I would go into stores, I would get immediately someone yelling or running up, "Hi, how can I help you? What are you looking for?"
Yep.
I just walked in your store. How do I know? I don't know what you have. I don't know all your items. And I guess they've read my mind because now they just say hi today.
And they don't.
They don't they don't corner me yet.
Well, here's the deal. Whether we think we want help or not, to we want to understand the consumer walked into our business for a reason, right? So I believe that I need to give them that 3 seconds, let them get their breath, walk up again. And if they say, "Listen, I just want to look around," say, "Great. Let me just explain to you the layout of the store, Tony. And then please go ahead and walk around if you have any questions. I'm going to be right over here."
I'm absolutely with you. When I used to have the art store while I was working for someone before I had the art store, I was always, it seems, the biggest salesperson because I developed the habit of always saying hi, just welcome. When
Yes.
people walked in the store, I would leave them alone, but because of maybe it's that Italian thing, but just welcome. People like it, and I'm not too much on top of them. That really helps a lot, and I do enjoy that. So all you retailers out there, when I walk in your store, give me a nice welcome, but then let me fiddle around a little bit.
Listen, I can tell you that I was in Paris, as you know, and I went into multiple stores that I would have purchased something, but I didn't for one reason. And what do you think that is?
You got snuffed. No
Yeah,
one spoke to
nobody
you.
said anything to me. As a
No one
matter of
spoke
fact,
to you.
here's what they were doing.
Uh,
They were on their phone the whole time.
they're on their social media. Oh, I know. I've run into that, and I've run into that a lot. But we're not here to complain about them. We're not. In fact, I'm going to ask you. I'm preparing to ask you a trick question. It's not a trick question, but unless you take it as a trick question, I'm just being silly because as we're talking about this, there's also that different type of a store. There, as I mentioned in the intro, Coca-Cola and some other big brands. I mean, they operate one way. And then, here's Tony's going to go out and open up an art store next week in the mall. It's like we're 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 so different, you know. And I'm thinking if the market changes and implementing AI, and there's got to be some big differences in how we respond, how we operate.
Well, the difference is that that whether you're a big box retailer, an inline retailer, doing a pop-up store, operating a cart or a kiosk or automated retail, right? Seamless channels here. regardless of what channel you're going into. Location, 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 number one. Are you in the right location with the right demographics in the right shopping center? I negotiate a lot of deals. As a matter of fact, I'm working on a lot right now, negotiating deals for my clients. So, right location, right shopping center, right? The right demographic for your product. So, number one, that will take a lot of the guesswork out of whether you're going to be successful or not, right? Do you have the right product mix? Do we negotiate the right rents? I mean, you have to strategize before you open your store and do a P&L to understand, can you make this business work? What is your overhead costs? What are your product costs? What are your employee costs? What are your cost of goods? I mean, all of those things. So you have to do a P&L first before you open a store. So regardless of whether you're Coke or whatever you are, or a small mom and pop, understand your demographic. Are you opening in the right location? Secondarily, do you have the right product mix? Do you have the product offering that's correct? Thirdly, is it a seamless buying or a seamless operation to open your store? Do you understand how long it's going to take, right? I mean, all of those things are so important. But more than that, don't bite off more than you can chew. Maybe open your store for 6 months to a year to begin with. See how that works, right? Don't do a long term strategy till you've done what? Till you have really understood the market and will your product work?
Good points. Good points. And I'm going to hark back to something we talked about earlier and bring it back with a comment because I'm processing all this and I'm thinking so many stores have closed down, right? Yeah, we talked about that. And I'm thinking,
Thousands.
is this an opportunity to reinvent, to come out bigger, bolder, better, badder, whatever? Is this an opportunity, or do you see,
Yeah.
or where do you see this going?
It's an opportunity for us to understand, why aren't these stores working? What is it? I mean, think about your shopping experience. This conference that I just came back from was about outlets, right? Operating your retail store in outlets. And outlets have understood now that they need to be the hub of the community. So you can't just put stores in a mall and not offer experiences to go along with them. You want to make your shopping center the hub, whether you're an outlet, a strip center, or an indoor shopping center. You want to make them the hub of the community. And if the shopping center isn't doing that to draw traffic to your store, then maybe you need to rethink where you're operating. But secondarily, are you making it an experience for people to come in your stores? Everybody is rethinking now, what do I do? How do I? The NBA store is a perfect example. They're opening stores all over Europe and they give you an experience. You can customize your shoes, you can play basketball, you can do all these fun things. So they're making it an experience for the consumer. So what I tell my clients when they call me and say, Linda, I have an idea or a concept or a brand should I open in retail? I'm like, well, number one, you need to make this an experience for your consumers, right? Make it an experience. So whether you're a retailer or you're a brand thinking of launching in retail or you're a shopping center, you need to understand today's consumer wants that experience.
Oh, you're giving me the light bulb. You see the light bulb here.
I
I am
do.
going to open up that. I'm going to open up that art store again because I love art. Okay, so I've got my online store. That's cut and dry. Buy this, get this frame, get this, whatever. But if you go into my store, can make somehow an it, bring up. Is that even the right way to say it? Generate, make an experience out of it. Maybe sit down. Maybe draw some art. Maybe you
Yes.
know put some stuff together and then
Art.
each month who are customers can vote for the best piece of art that the customers have done. Because one thing I've noticed in art now, I didn't work in clothing or cars or anything, but art store attracted artists. I used to get so many people that would paint or sculpt or
Yep.
do this, just artist. So if I have an art store, you may be opening up a shoe store out there. You may have a business store, you may have a makeup,
Right.
hair products,
Damn it.
something for that type of person that they can experience to
Yes.
make it more fun. We're missing that, and I think that's the whole thing. I think you've hit on it. Uh, is creating that in-store experience. That's going to help keep my store open.
There you go. Well, I'll help you, Tony. The and here's the thing: having an art store or the MBA store or what or Lush, they're a perfect example. I love Lush. You know why? Because you can go in there. I make my own bath bombs when I go in there. Their customer service is absolutely incredible, regardless where you go. And they're not closing stores. Guess what they're doing? They're opening stores because they're providing the customer an experience. I get to go in and make my own bath bombs. I get to go in and test and try out all the products. It's phenomenal. So retailers that really understand their consumer, who understand what it's going to take for them to be successful, are going to be the ones that are going to keep opening stores and growing. Viori's another brand. They're opening up 150 stores a year while other people are closing. Well, guess why? Because they've got it right? They understand what it takes to be successful in a retail environment, and that's what it takes.
Linda, I hope every person that has a store, and if they're struggling, goes back and listens to the last 10 minutes, because that's the creme de la creme. That's it. That's the stuff right there. Get that experience in place for the people, and they will keep coming back. I absolutely love it.
Me
And
too.
we did that pretty well way back in the day, but today's a different day. All right, we'll do some finger painting in my store. And
I love
now I'm thinking, okay, so I walk into the store or even I visit the website. Let's bring the website back online.
it.
Are there things that we want to see, whether I'm selling cars or makeup or bath products or clothes? What sort of things does that consumer want to see and experience or expect when they go visit you?
Well, I think if they're visiting you online, they want the website to be easy to navigate. They want it to be easy for me to understand. And I think the other thing is that if I buy one product, and I hate like heck to say this, but I'm going to, Amazon does this the best because if you buy one product, they suggest another one to go with it, right? So websites need to do that. That's how we build our average order value. That's how we build our cart and our sales basket. We can do it better in store than we can online, right? Because I can show you when you try on those pair of pants, I can bring back a shirt and say, you know what? Those pants look great on you, but wouldn't this shirt just make such a perfect outfit for you? Oh, and by the way, I have a belt. Oh, and shoes, right? And that's like an easy upsell. I'm not really hard selling, I'm upselling, right? And so I think to make that process seamless online, I also think where retailers make a big mistake is they don't promote their stores. They don't say online, hey, listen, by the way, so we need to make sure if we're an online retailer and in store that if I buy it online, I can return it in store because I have a store right down the street from me, but I happen to be sitting on my computer ordering, right? But when it came, I hated it and I don't want to send it back, but can I bring it back to the store? So make that process with your consumer really easy. List your stores on your website. Don't think because it's more expensive to have staff and your leases, all of that stuff in store. Let the consumer know, listen, go into our store, experience our store firsthand. So make that process easy. So many times when I help new entrepreneurs and brands launch in retail, they don't want to let the customer know that they have an online store because it's less expensive to send it to them online, right, than it is in store. But make that process easy. Buy online, pick up in store, buy in store, buy in store, and so if you can buy in store, then we can ship it to you if you don't want to take it home with you, right? So that's the process that we need to make seamless today. And we're almost there. Some retailers are really good at it. But I think from a new store perspective and new entrepreneurs and retailers, make that buying process easy for your customer. Easy.
I like that. I remember going in a store and my wife wanted something, but they didn't have her size, and the
Yep.
person offered, "We'll pay for it, and they'll just ship it to the house." It was like, how easy was that?
How easy was that, right? And that to me makes the buying process so easy and makes the retail experience easy for the customer. And by the way, it doesn't help your staff when you don't make the buying process easy for customers, because they're the ones who get all the complaints, right? And when they get all these complaints, we beat them up saying, oh, you didn't take care of them right, you didn't do this. But did we make it easy for them to take care of the customer? Don't, as a company, sit in the ivory tower and dictate policy and procedure and not understand how it's impacting those people who by the way pay your paychecks. That's what I say. The people out in the field, they pay your paychecks. They're selling your product. So make it easy for them.
So, Linda, how do we make it easy for them? How does corporate, let's go big stores, how does corporate make it easy for their employees in the store? What do they have to do?
They have to be in the field. They have to understand what it's like to work open to close 7 days a week, 30 days in a row when they don't have enough staff. You don't understand that if you haven't done it. I've done it. I did it for 3 months in a row. So I get it. I understand what it's like. So don't be saying, well, you need to try harder to find employees. It's hard to find employees. Offer to staff it with them, offer to help them. Make your policies and procedures salesperson driven, not corporate driven, right? The corporate driven policies have a place, right? For ordering and logistics and HR, that kind of stuff, right? But when it comes to selling, make it easy for them. Have policies and procedures that are easy. Don't dictate from the ivory tower, be boots on the ground in the stores, understanding. So then maybe when your salespeople and managers and district managers are telling you, you need to order more white shirts for Pete's sake, we keep running out, and you don't send more white, you send black instead. And then you wonder why sales are down. And then you're yelling at your poor salespeople, right? So you have to treat them with the same respect you treat your CFO, your CEO, your COO, because they're the ones that make the cash register ring.
Very well said. And I totally track with you. And yes, we need more of that. I hope everyone's paying attention on that. Okay, so now I'm opening up my retail store with art, Tony's Art, finger painting every Wednesday. I'm going to open from scratch. I haven't had a store in the mall for quite a few years. What do I have to do differently today than I would have even 5 years ago? What do I have to do? We talked about AI. We talked about the experience. We talked about all these things. Anything else that's really important before I launch?
Yeah, you need to make sure that you negotiated the right rent with the right location in the right shopping center. So you've got to do some due diligence. What I provide, and a lot of consultants do to their clients, right, is we provide all the statistics of the shopping centers. So we analyze the shopping center first. We sit in the shopping center. We do during the week when it's slow. We sit in there on the weekends. Where is the traffic flow? Where is my customer coming from? Listen, shopping centers want to help you be successful. They don't want you to sign a long-term lease or sign a lease and then completely dive, right? And not be successful. But ask, go around, talk to the retailers in the shopping center where you're going to be. Ask them, how's the traffic? When are the busy days? So right location, right mall, that is going to give you the foundation, right? The foundation. Do you need to rebuild the store? Do you need to get some tenant improvement money from the shopping center? Do you know what the store design is going to be like? I mean, there's so many pieces to that puzzle before you open your store so that you can plan appropriately the cost that it's going to take. Now, do I think any of that's changed? No, that's been the same for 100 years, right? But what experiences as a new retailer, you talked about it, offering art classes, telling the stories, having a sitting area where people can read art book, bringing in artists and offering those kind of classes or pottery or whatever it is. Give your customers a reason to come in your store, right? Give them a reason. Every Tuesday we do this. Every Thursday we do this. Every Saturday we do this, right? So give them that experience. So when they leave that store, they're posting on TikTok or social media. Oh my gosh, you're going to come to this store. And then lastly, market the heck out of your store. So many times people open a store and they sit there waiting for the customer to come. Do you have a marketing strategy? Are you on social media? Are you have an Instagram and a Facebook and a TikTok? Are you marketing? Are you letting people know your store is opening? Have you partnered with the shopping center to, plan your grand opening? Marketing is so important. We no longer can sit back and wait for the shopping center to provide customers to us. We have to provide the customers to ourselves, right?
Absolutely. Now, I don't want this to go over our heads because this is so important, and especially as I've opened up a store and had a store and all that before. It is such a commitment with the inventory and the lease and just the
Yep,
personnel. It's a big thing, and you're going out a little bit on a limb.
yep,
You're an entrepreneur. You know you can make it. You've done it before. You did well at some other location. Now you're expanding, but it's still there's that risk.
yep,
And what I want to refer to is a person such as you can help advise
yeah.
and provide information to help give a better chance of success. Uh, I'd like to understand more of what a person such as you does for us that want to open up a store or even have a store and we're struggling.
Well, listen, we offer, and my company offers everything from soup to nuts, I like to say. I do a lot of training with mall management teams to teach them how to help their retailers be more successful, right? Because it goes both ways. The shopping center and the retailer, we have to be in sync with each other, right? So the shopping center is there to help provide the the location and to work with us and hopefully the best rent. So I help my clients negotiate leases. I do site selection, lease negotiations to give them the best location with the best price, right? I write operational manuals, so I write all of their operations. So for someone who's never been in retail, I provide them from A to Z, from POS systems to inventory management to HR. I write their whole operational manuals. I teach and train and help hire their staff so that they know how to do it next time, or they can use me moving forward. I have a lot of clients that I do it for to this very day. I hire and train their teams, and I do ongoing training on a monthly basis on how to really maximize the potential. And um, and so I do all of that, and then I can consult with them on a monthly basis for any other needs that they may have.
I love it. So we need someone like you if we're going to open up our store.
Yeah.
So if I said, what would you say to today's entrepreneurs and business people that are going to open up a store? You'd say, have them talk to me first.
Well, I'd love for that. Thank you, Tony. That's very funny. Good sense of humor. I'd love for them to do that. But in case they don't want to hire someone like me, right? And they think they can do it on their own, here's what I'm going to say: put together a business plan. Be smart about this. Most retailers forget, or most new entrepreneurs don't understand the long term strategy. And when their staff doesn't show up, that guess what? Their store can't be closed. So guess who goes in there? They do. So when their team members call in sick and they don't have regionals or divisionals, because you're brand new, right? You have to understand that you're going to live, eat, and breathe this 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, 300 and, well, let's see, we're closed 3 days a year. So 362 days a year, you're going to be running this business. You're going to be getting calls with people are sick. How come I don't have this? Customers. So you have to understand what it's going to take from you to operate a successful retail business. I have a client now we just opened up her first long-term inline store, and she said to me, she goes, oh my gosh, Linda, I had no idea that this was going to take so much. And she wants to scale this and keep opening stores. Open one, get it right, understand what it takes to manage and operate that store, and then scale, and then scale.
Wise words. Very good. Once again, this is Linda Johansen-James. We talked about future proofing retail. You can find her at irg-retail.com. Linda, such good advice. It really, really makes me want to
Let's
think
do
of
it.
opening up my store again, but then I'd have to podcast in the store. I have to figure that part
Oh,
out.
yeah, that's what you could do.
It was great to have you on. I just want to
Thank you.
thank you so much. That was wonderful. And Here's a special thank you to those that listened to the end. Thank you so much. And if you like this, share this with your friends. Tell them about Linda and what she does, and about, if you have a friend with a product, or he wants to open up a store, or he has a store, check it out. Go through this interview and find and see if this is what you or your friend needs to help. Share it, because we're all about helping others and getting and staying ahead. And if we do that, we'll be opening up more stores. We won't be closing it at all whatsoever. And wherever you're seeing this or hearing it or watching it, please follow the show. It helps in bringing more amazing guests to you. All right, let's use this and let's help you move on your journey to success. Thanks, and remember, just take action. Success awaits those who persevere and remain steadfast despite the odds. Sow good seeds, do good deeds. And join me on the next episode. See you guys.